to the Fan of History. I'm the Fan of History, and today we're going to talk about ancient laws. This is the 12th law of the Kuda Asura from 1075 BC. If the wife of a man be walking on the highway, and a man sees her, say to her, I will surely have intercourse with you. If she be not willing and defend herself, and he seize her by force and rape her, whether they catch him upon the wife of a man, or whether at the word of the woman whom he has raped, the elder shall prosecute him, they shall put him to death. There is no punishment for the woman. And you might have believed that this was a part of the Bible, but it's not. It's part of the Code of Hammurabi. If a man destroys the eye of another man, they shall destroy his eye. If one man breaks a man's bone, they shall break his bone. If one destroy the eye of a freeman, or break the bone of a freeman, he shall pay 1 man of silver. If one destroys the eye of a man's slave, or break a bone of a man's slave, he shall pay 1/2 his price. So, an eye for an eye only applied if people were rich. So what do we know about the legal codes of 1000 BC? Actually, we know almost nothing, but there are some laws that are surely still in effect, and we'll talk about those. There's of course justice that has not come down to us, or justice we could deduce from customs that are later, such as primitive culture justice, etc. But I'm not going to concern myself with this. I'm going to concern myself with legal codes that we actually have. Of course, times change very slowly 3000 years ago. So the idea that Hammurabi's law is still in effect is it actually is. Even though it's been around for 760 years, Hammurabi put his laws in stone in Babylon, so people were reading them. Hammurabi is a very fascinating character. I hope I get to cover the 18th century BC, because this guy is Captain Awesome. This law of his is just one of the things he does. He does a lot of other things, and he puts Babylonia on the map, and yeah. And his laws are still used, and his legacy is still used in 1000 BC, that is, not today. But his legacy lives on, and I know that US justice courts have this guy on the wall some of the time. And he puts down his law in legal code in stone in 760 BC. And there are 282 laws, they're on 12 tables, and they spread across Mesopotamia. They are universally accepted, but there is another legal code that is much more recent in 1000 BC, and that is the Code of Asura, the Assyrians' law. It was compiled by Tiglath-Pileser I, the Assyrian king, but he is a compiler. He is not a lawgiver, really. But the Assyrian laws is in some sense different from Hammurabi's laws. Of course, the Assyrians love to kill people for minor offenses, so they're just like Hammurabi in that, and just like the later Draco with the draconian laws of Athens. But still, the laws of Assur are different, and we'll see what we can find out about them. There is also the Kang Bao, the legal code of Su China, compiled by King Bu, the founder of Su China and the grandfather of King Kang that we talked about. This happens before 1000 BC, but just a couple of years before. And we have the instructions sent to younger prince for the government of a fief. But I don't have it. I have not found a copy of the Kang Bao, and I want to find one. So if someone can help me find a copy of the Kang Bao, I'll do a special on Chinese law at this time. Or right now, I don't know anything. There are a lot of laws in Egypt, of course, and Egyptian laws can be trusted to remain the same for a long, long time as everything in Egypt. There's a Greek writer in the 6th century BC that tells us of 8 legal books of code. But these books do not survive. Ma'at is a goddess, and her sort of religion is base for the justice in Egypt. One thing is that everyone who is free is treated equally by the law, no matter if they are rich or not. Which is and these laws generally look very lenient compared to the Assyrian and the Babylonian laws. But if you commit a crime, your whole family is punished. All your children and close relatives suffer the same punishment as you. So if you're exiled, they go with you. So you had to keep your family in check, because you would be punished for what they did. So let's talk about the laws themselves briefly. We have a couple of Assyrian laws on relations. If the Law 13, if the wife of a man go out from her house and visit a man where he lives, and he have intercourse with her, knowing that she is a man's wife, the man and also the woman they shall put to death. So don't go out and have relationships with your neighbor. Law 58. Unless it is forbidden in the tablets, a man may strike his wife, pull her hair, her ear he may bruise or pierce. He commits no misdeed thereby. Okay, there goes the theory that the Assyrians were feminists. Law 20. If a man have intercourse with his brothers in arms, they shall turn him into a eunuch. So I wonder what happened to the brother in arms. Yeah, it's okay, they didn't like homosexuals. Hammurabi then. He likes death, because death is cheap. Death is swift, and death doesn't cost money. Keeping people in prison costs money. The Assyrians make a system out of making people work for the Assyrians, but they don't put people in prison. So, some examples of the laws for where you die. So if you commit a robbery, you are dead. Law 15 then. If anyone take a male or female slave of the court, or a male or female slave of a freedman outside the city gates, he shall be put to death. What? You are not allowed to bring your slaves outside the city? Okay, another law then. If anyone break a hole into a house, he shall be put to death before that hole and be buried. And I read the version of this where you were actually buried in the hole. So if you broke into a house, you had to be like killed and used as used to cover the hole in the wall. So the Assyrians also cared about property, of course. Property always a focus for legal codes. Law 2:8. If a man meddle with the field of his neighbor, they shall convict him. Threefold shall he restore. One of his finger they shall cut off. 100 blows they shall inflict upon him. 1 month of days he shall do the king's work. So okay, I go to my neighbor's field, mess it up. I have to pay 3 times what I did. I lose a finger, I get 100 blows, presumably from a whip, but I'm not sure. And then I have to work for a month too. Okay, I will not mess with my neighbor's field. Law 3:2. If a man sell the son and or daughter of a man who on account of debt was dwelling in his house, they shall convict him. He shall lose his money, and he shall give his minor son to the owner of the property. 100 lashes shall they inflict upon him. 20 days shall he do the king's work. So don't sell your debt slaves, children. Debt slavery is something we will get back to in a later thing. A little more from Hammurabi. Like the Assyrians here, he didn't like infidelity. If a man's wife be surprised with another man, both shall be tied and thrown into the water, but the husband may pardon his wife and the king his slaves. So the king can take the people who were cheating as slaves, or the husband may save his wife while she's thrown into the water, maybe. Another law. If a man take a wife, and this woman give her husband a maidservant, and she bear him children, but this man wishes to take another wife, this shall not be permitted to him. He shall not take a second wife. It was actually the case that you could divorce your wife if she didn't bear children. But then she could aha, I have a maidservant, and you can put children in her. And then she was safe. These were different times. The Assyrians had thoughts on abortion. Law 52 from the Koda Asura. If a woman of her own accord drop that which is in her, they shall prosecute her. They shall convict her. They shall crucify her. They shall not bury her. If she die from dropping that which is in her, they shall crucify her, and they shall not bury her. Burying people is a good thing, because then you can live on after death. I think. I'm not too sure about Assyrian religion, but in Egypt that was definitely the case. We know nothing of the Olmecs, and it's too early for the Jewish and Vedic laws. So that's it for a brief overview of the legal codes of 1000 BC. The events of the 970s BC show will be released on March 31st, and I'm itching to go. I have already prepared 3 more shows, so the 950 shows is ready. But I want to have a schedule here, and I don't know if I can keep up this pace. So I will publish 1 show a week. But I could do more bonus features on the 10th century BC. I was just at the library, got 5 heavy books about 10th century BC stuff. So I could do a show on weapons, war, religion, everyday life, and even farming. So tell me, what do you want to see? Don't say inventions, because I have put the inventions in the decade shows. So tell me, what more do you want to know about the 10th century BC? Thank you for watching.